Okay, welcome back everybody to Sobel Insights. This is our second session. Today's a very interesting topic, something that I had heard about just recently and saw the way the questions were coming in from clients and other people, and I figured it would be a great topic to be able to bring up. As I had mentioned in the previous session, we do try and keep this to 15 minutes because we want to have just provide you with some information, have a short video that you can view quickly. At this point, again, we don't offer CPE as it relates to this. If we get into the world of nano credits and we, the rest of the world, then we will probably start issuing CPE credit. But right now, we're not issuing CPE credit as it relates to this. As I said in previous sessions, if you have any ideas or if you have an idea for a potential speaker, please feel free to have them email me, or you can email me at brad.muniz@SobelCo.com. I will repeat that at brad.muniz@SobelCo.com. It's not good, John, when I give out the old email address, huh?
You need to be here a while.
Wonder if Andrew knows how to edit. Okay, so today's topic, and I'll say to the way that it was presented to me, and many of the viewers know that I'm mainly on audit, is that do you have any information on QOFs and QOZs? And I thought they were talking about Star Trek, and I looked it up. I couldn't find anything, Return of the Jedi, I don't know. But it's qualified opportunity funds and qualified opportunity zones. And then I started reviewing it more and more and realized that I had heard about it, just not how they were referencing it. And I thought it'd be a great topic for people to hear. And our presenter today is John Mayer. Last time we had Chris Martin. We're sticking with John Mayer, going with the music theme for now. And there we go. And John is a supervisor in our tax department who specializes in real estate partnerships, real estate transactions. And John has some good information as it relates to this. So John, welcome. And please, what is a QOF and a QOZ?
Thank you, Brad. So the QOF and the QOZ. QOZ stands for Qualified Opportunity Zone. This is a provision in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The whole idea behind this was to increase investment in underdeveloped areas. Generally, the way this works is an investor can reinvest his capital gains into a Qualified Opportunity Zone fund, which is where QOF comes in. And they have the opportunity to defer taxes, and if they get in it on time, they can also reduce some of that tax burden. And the way this basically works is I develop a capital gain from an event. I can take that capital gain, invest that into this fund, and it has to be a qualified opportunity fund. You have 180 days to do so. And once the investment is made, it starts out with a zero basis. And once you hit the point that you have your investment being held for 5 years, you get a 10% step up. So whatever that original gain is, 10% of that is now your basis. If you hold it for 7 years, you get an additional 5% step up. Unfortunately, at this time, if you are to invest in a QOZ, QOF, the only step up you're still eligible for is the 10%, because what happens is on December 31st, 2026, if you still hold your investment, whatever the basis in that is, you can reduce your total gain and you have to pay tax on it at that time. At this point, it kind of seems like, what are we doing? We're only saving 5-10% of our gain. The real carrot at the end of the stick comes if you hold your investment for 10 years or longer. Any appreciation on that investment at that point, you get to recognize tax-free. So that's the big incentive there. And on the other side, this stimulates growth in the economy in areas that need some help.
So I guess that this differs from a 1031, which I'm going to ask Mariana to talk about one day. This differs in a 1031 like-kind exchange because the like-kind exchange doesn't have that 10-year window that you referenced.
Correct. And there's a couple of big differences with 1031 and QOZ. Both are gain recognition deferral vehicles, basically. The first main difference is when you're doing a 1031 exchange, the replacement, hold on, let me rephrase that. When you're going through a 1031 exchange, you're exchanging real property for real property. This used to be there used to be some leniency where personal property was also included in 1031s, and that's since been removed as well. So now it's real property only. One of the other big differences is when it comes to QOZ investment, you get to keep a lot more of your cash. The investment needed to defer your gains in a QOZ is only the gain amount. So if you sell a piece of property for 1.5 million, 500,000 is your gain. That's the only piece you have to put in. You can keep that $1 million of cash, your initial investment. When it comes to a 1031, all of those proceeds need to be reinvested.
Right.
In addition, the investments are varied in a QOZ. You can through those funds, you can invest in businesses, not just property. So that's helpful as well. And finally, with a QOZ investment, the deferral of gain, it's temporary. As we said before, December 31st, 2026, or if you sell it earlier, you'll have to recognize that gain. As far as the 1031 goes, you could park that and leave it for as long as you want. A lot of the
So you gave that information about a 10-year window, though. So if somebody enters into a QOF and QOZ now, they won't have that. Will they have that 10-year window available to them?
They'll have that 10-year window. So when the QOZ program developed, the December 31st, 2026, I believe, was still before that 10-year window would hit. So what happens on this date, the December 31st, 2026, we keep bringing up, you're going to pay tax on your gain at that point. And once you pay tax on your gain, now your basis is full. Right. And continuing to hold it past 10 years will still appreciate. So, I mean, the real urgency to get into a QOZ, before the end of this year, actually, is that you'll still get that 10% step up. So when the 31st and 2026 rolls around, you'll have a little less tax to pay on if you can get in before the 5 years.
So you have the less tax on the 10%, you have the time value of money on the gain that you've deferred until 2026, and then any appreciation from 2026 and after, is that eliminated, assuming you hold it for 10 years?
Once you hit the 10 years, yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you, to your point, if you have a gain of 500,000, you deferred 10%, that's 50, or you eliminated 10%, that's 50,000 of the gain. So you're paying tax on the 450. But then if you sell it down the road for 750, you would have only paid tax on the 450 in essence.
Right. You're not going to have to pay tax again because you're set. You'll have a basis of 500, sell it for 750, that $250,000 gain, tax free.
Wow. That's very interesting. And to your point, 1031s are like kind exchanges. So it was real property for real property, land for building, whatever. So real property for real property. At one point, equipment for equipment, not equipment for real property, not real property for equipment. It had to be like kind.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
This one, you're taking a gain from another sale and investing it into a piece of whatever QO qualified investment.
Correct.
How long do you have to invest the previous gain that you're deferring?
In general, there's a 180-day window. Well, it's all a 180-day window. It's just the timing of when that window starts can change. But in general, from the time that the event occurs, giving rise to the gain, you have 180 days to reinvest those funds. That also is another area that differs from 1031. I'll just double back a second. With the 1031, when you sell your real property, that money needs to go directly to a qualified intermediary, which means it doesn't come into my pocket. With the QOZ, you can take that money, you can play around with it, do whatever you want. As long as the same amount goes into the fund within those 180 days, you're good to go. So it gives you a little more flexibility when it comes to reinvestment. The trick with the 180-day window is if you are recognizing that gain, say you and I have a partnership and we sell something in the middle of the year, we actually have a decision. You and I individually can make our decisions. If we want to go take our gain money and reinvest into a qualified opportunity fund, we can start that 180-day window from the date that sale occurred, if we have that information. We can start that 180-day window from the last day of our tax year, or we can start that 180-day window from the due date of our partnership return, which would be on a calendar year, March 15th. And that can be the start of our 180-day window. So they really made this favorable for, I think a lot of the backlash came from, hey, you know, I'm in a partnership. They sold property. I had this gain that was in March, and I only found out about it now that I got my K1, and you know, I missed my window. So now they've made it a little more flexible.
Okay, all right. What? How does I wrote a note down. How does a partnership or corporation become a qualified opportunity fund?
To become qualified as a qualified opportunity fund, on the first year they file the tax return, there's literally a box to check that you self-certify. I'm self-certifying as a qualified opportunity fund. And that's how you create it. To maintain that, you now have to go and prove twice a year that you're holding 90% or more of your assets in a qualified opportunity zone property. And just briefly, qualified opportunity zone property is either real property, we can hold that directly, or we can own stock or partnership interest in a qualified opportunity zone business. And you know, if you really want your head to spin, once you go into those businesses now have percentage thresholds, and they have to have 70% of their activity within an opportunity zone to qualify as a qualified opportunity zone business. So if you do the math, you could wind up investing your money into a QOF. They have to own 90% of their assets in a qualified opportunity zone business. They then have to own 70%. In essence, I really only own 63% of my assets in a qualified opportunity zone. So you get another layer of wiggle room if you invest that way.
Wow. All right. So one more question. So my neighbor's selling his house. I can just go buy that property and make a qualified opportunity zone? All depends on where I live, right? It depends.
It does.
Right.
It does depend. Yeah, the property needs to be located within a zone. The zones were designated by the states. I believe once they released this information about qualified opportunity zones, they gave each state so long to designate certain census tracts that were qualified opportunity zones. And these tracts, you know, can span across town lines and so forth. So you just have to know, you know, exactly where these zones are.
Right. I imagine it could be part of a township, a municipality. It may be a whole municipality. It may just be part of it. So
correct.
Make sure that you're looking into who would know about the particular properties. Who's the best to reach out to?
Best to reach out to
determine if it's a qualified property.
Well, you can. The census tracts are available online. There's a link I don't know if there's anywhere where you can put a link with this video, but I could probably track that down and send that to you as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll get Andrew, see if you can put it up on there in some way. So it sounds like it's an easy topic the way you rambled it off, but it is a deep topic. I do recommend that people look into this, especially if you are selling a piece of property. Always talk to your tax advisor, talk to John. He has a good handle on this stuff. You know, I get clients calling me all the time saying, "Oh, I'm going to do a 1031. Do not touch the money. Hold on a second." Or, "Hey, I sold the property. I'm going to do 1031 now." It's like, too late, you know?
Right.
So talk to people beforehand, plan beforehand. It's one piece of recommendation I can only add to this, other than QOF and QOZ is not Star Trek. That's about my thing I provided to this presentation. But I want to thank you, John, for this piece of information. If people do want to contact you, want to give your email address?
My email is john.mayer@SobelCoLLC.com.
At least you gave the right URL, and that's Mayer, correct?
That's right, just like the famous saying, exactly spelled the same.
Right. All right, John, thank you very much. And I look forward to you doing another presentation for us again in the future.
Thank you
Have a
very
good one.
much.